So chapter 1. So we're just going to be doing a little bit of review of the theory chapters that you have done throughout the years. So we're going to start with chapter 1, and then over the next few weeks you might decide which chapter to have a look next. So this involves types and components of a computer system, and this is lesson 1. So you might go through a lot of this stuff quite quickly because you have done it before, so this is just a quick review, but let me know if you have any questions about what we discuss. So define hardware as consisting of physical components of a computer system. So you've got to be able to describe what hardware is. So you know it's every single thing that you can touch in a computer system. So all the physical parts of a computer. So these are some examples: keyboards, mouse, monitor, scanner, printer, CD-ROM, motherboard, digital camera, speakers, webcam, RAM, hardware, processor, microphone, and memory stick. So these are just examples. So these are components that you can touch and pick up. Alright, so that is hardware. Identify internal hardware devices. So these are just devices that you find inside your computer case or inside your computer tower. So in your computer tower you'll find a motherboard, your CPU will be on the motherboard, as well as these components over here, except for the peripherals. So CPU, RAM, BIOS, graphics card, sound card, and storage devices. Alright, so internal hardware devices, they are devices inside your computer tower. Identify external hardware devices and peripherals. Okay, so external hardware devices are those outside of your computer now, not inside your computer tower. So these are examples. So you got your monitor on the outside, you can have printers, speakers, a projector, your keyboard, mouse, microphone. All of these devices here are not inside your tower of your computer, but are on the outside. Alright, so that's external hardware devices and peripherals. So just keep in mind, peripherals though, these are additional pieces of hardware that you can connect to your computer, like through USB. So a keyboard you can plug into your computer. So these are additional things that you can attach to your computer. They're not really needed for your computer to actually work or to start up. Okay. Define software as programs for controlling the operation of a computer or processing of electronic data. Alright, so that is pretty much from the syllabus what they say you've got to be able to do. So as long as you can describe what software is, it's the coded programs that control how a computer works. So examples of software you probably already know. So you get your operating system, your disk cleaners on your computer, disk defragmenter, you've got an antivirus, got like Microsoft Word for example, graphics editors like Photoshop, web design programs, and like Excel spreadsheet programs. These are all programs you can use on your computer. Identify the two types of software. Okay, so they pretty much tell you what they are: application software and system software. So just know whenever they're talking about software, you have to be able to describe each of these ones: system and application. Define application software. Okay, so that's everyday programs that allow the user to do something useful. So for example, you can have word processors, so that's like Microsoft Word. You can type out letters, and you can pretty much do quite a lot with Microsoft Word, useful things. Graphics editors, you can edit photos, you can make websites, you can make models from Excel spreadsheets. So any program that lets you do something useful is an application software program. Define system software. So this is software which allows the system to run smoothly. So these aren't useful things that you would use to do something with a computer. So it is software that manages the computer's resources, and these are like some examples. So you have to have an operating system to actually use a computer or for it to run smoothly. Disk cleaners can clean up any things on your computers that is slowing it down. Disk defragmenters and antivirus programs, they also help your computer to run smoothly, getting rid of viruses and arranging your files in order so that your computer speeds up. Okay, so that's system software. Allows your computer to run smoothly. Describe the central processing unit, including its role. Okay, so you just got to know the central processing unit, or the CPU, is the brain of the computer. It controls what the computer does and is responsible for performing calculations and data processing. It also handles the movement of data to and from system memory. And if you're not sure what a CPU looks like on your motherboard, here is just an example. Right, so Intel CPU versus an AMD CPU. Okay, so you have to know. You have to be able to describe what a CPU is and its role. So this is pretty much it. What is the motherboard? Okay, so you don't have to go into too much detail with respect to motherboards. So we'll just go through these briefly anyway, so you know your motherboard pretty much looks like this. The motherboard is central to any computer system. All components plug into the motherboard, so you can put in your graphics card, your RAM, etc. either directly or indirectly. So you can use a USB port, you can stick in a flash drive, your keyboards, but RAM and your video cards and sound cards have to go into the circuit board. Once connected to the motherboard, the components can work together to form the computer system. And components communicate and send signals to each other via the bus network. Okay, so you don't have to pretty much know this very well, but just have a vague idea what the motherboard is. Describe internal memory, i.e. ROM and RAM, and the differences between them. Okay, so describe RAM. So you just need to know RAM stands for Random Access Memory. So you've pretty much hopefully seen this quite a few times. So this is just a little bit like a review, especially for this part. RAM is used to temporarily store information that is currently in use by the computer. So if you're running like Microsoft Word or you're playing computer games, those programs are in the RAM as you're running them. So this includes anything from Word documents to videos. RAM can be read from and written to, so the information stored in RAM can change all the time. It depends what tasks you're using the computer for. So if you're running Word, then Word's going to be written to the RAM, so that RAM is being in use. And as soon as you're not using Microsoft Word, then Word is removed from the RAM. Okay, so it can read from RAM and it can write to the RAM. RAM is fast memory. Data can be written to and read from RAM very quickly. RAM is generally measured in gigabytes. And RAM is volatile, so this means that information stored in RAM is deleted as soon as the computer is turned off. Alright, so the contents of your RAM, when you turn your computer off, it gets emptied out and there is no programs being stored in the RAM then. Okay, so that is RAM. So just know these quite well. So the next one, describe ROM. So ROM stands for read-only memory. ROM is used to permanently store instructions that tell the computer how to boot, so it stores the BIOS, the boot up program. Alright, so it also loads the operating system, like your Windows, and these instructions are known as the BIOS, the basic input-output system, or the boot program. Right, so this is permanent programs stored in ROM, else you can't start your computer up. Information stored in ROM is known as read-only. This means that the contents of ROM cannot be altered or added to by the user. If you can alter the ROM, you can alter the BIOS and the startup program, and then you can't start up your computer. So it has to be read-only. You cannot alter that little stick of memory. ROM is fast memory. Data stored in ROM can be accessed and read very quickly. And ROM is non-volatile. So this is opposite of volatile, which is RAM. So this means that the stored information is not lost when the computer loses its power. So when you turn your computer off, ROM is still stored in this memory chip or stick, so that when you start your computer up, ROM is still there, that BIOS is still there to tell your computer how to start up. And a little summary on the next page. So summarize the differences between RAM and ROM. So this is the last slide. So you can just sort of see what they have here. In number 1, contents are lost when the computer is turned off. Yes, that only applies to RAM. Contents are not lost when the computer is turned off. That's ROM. Stores instructions that tell the computer how to start up. Yes, ROM stores the BIOS. Stores data and programs currently in use. That is RAM. Your computer will perform faster with more of this. The more RAM you have, the faster your computer will be. This can be written to and read from. That's RAM. This cannot be written to, altered, only read. Has to be, because your BIOS can be manipulated. And stands for Random Access Memory. That's RAM. And stands for read-only memory. That is ROM. Alright, I hope that was alright. So going through this stuff quite quickly, but let me know if you have any questions.